Okay, everybody, I am really excited today because I am joined by Wally Lamb, the author of the book I Know This Much Is True, and he is also the executive producer of the show I Know This Much Is True. How are you doing today, Wally?
I am good. How are you, Mr. Varley?
I'm doing good, man. So I'm really excited to talk to you. I think you're such a brilliant writer, and it's showing also in how good this show is, and it almost sets the ceiling up for the show to be sky high, and it's interesting because I wonder, when were you first approached about this novel coming to the screen, and did you have any fears or hesitation about actually having that happen?
Yeah, good question. The novel was published in 1998, and it sold to the movies right out of the box. I think it was the same month of publication. The plan was to make it into a feature film, so somewhere around 2 hours or so. Now, the complication there was that there's a 900-page book that they were going to try to jam into 2 hours. And obviously there was going to be a lot that would have to be cut. And I was fine for them to try to do that, but the studio hired a couple of, I think maybe 3 different screenwriters at different points. They could never fit this giant story into a 2-hour box, if you will. So 15 years go by, and I get a call. I think this was 2014. I got a call from my agent, and she said, "Do you remember that little thing we put in the contract about how if they didn't make a movie within 15 years, the rights would revert back to you?" And I had to confess that I had probably never read that contract. But anyway, what had happened in those 15 years is that along came, some of the premium series that were starting to be done, by HBO and, and others, and, with terrific actors and so forth. So anyway, my agent said she was going to try to shop it around and see if anybody was interested in a series. And she said, "Who would be your first choice to play the twins?" And I said, that's easy, Mark Ruffalo.
Wow.
And so she had a connection to Mark through her agency. At the time he was filming a movie in Europe. And so she sent him the book, and about maybe a week later, he got back to her, and she shared with me the email that he had sent, and it was one of the most exciting things I had ever gotten indirectly. And he said basically he loved the book. He's sorry he was only half done with it. He's a slow reader, and he had to learn lines and all that kind of stuff. But there was nothing prima donna about this, this reaction to it. And he said, I really want to do this. I know already that I really want to do this because I know these people. These were the people that I grew up with, working class. He's half Italian, I'm half Italian. So he was good for his word. We did meet when he finished filming in Europe, and we hit it off, and then we spent the next couple of years sort of looking for the right director, and then we found him in Derek Cianfrance.
See, that's really awesome because hearing that makes me so happy, because when you see someone's an executive producer, sometimes you're like, well, are they just stamping their name on it? Or are they actually involved? And to hear that you're so involved with this coming about as a show is really cool. Can you just elaborate a little more on that too? Like you're saying Derek Cianfrance came in. Were you there pretty much the whole way through when they were casting certain characters and writers?
No, what happened was that, I remember it was Mark's idea to take a really serious look at Derek. And I had seen Derek's a couple of his films and really loved them. One was Blue Valentine, and the other was The Place Beyond the Pines. And but they were small independent movies. But then we had this big sprawling thing that we were going to try to do. But Derek and Mark and I had a lunch in Lower Manhattan, and I liked him immediately. And at that point he had read the novel, and he really wanted to do it, and he thought he could do, a good job with it. And he originally had sort of mapped out several more episodes than just the 6 that it finally came down to. But, he just seemed to have really good instincts about it. And he said to me, and he said this many times when he was writing the episodes, he says, "Don't worry, I am going to honor your book. I'm going to honor what the book means." And I said to him, okay, yeah, that's that's good. I'm glad, but I said I don't want you to honor it so much that you don't make it your own. And he, I think he said as much that sort of freed him from, to sort of go where he wanted to go with this material, but still being, respectful of the material. I trusted Derek, and I certainly trusted Mark because, he was executive producing too. And so I let it go at that point. I didn't want to read, the scripts for each of the episodes. I wanted them to, sort of not having me hover over them. So I guess probably, other than being a consultant here and there, my executive producing had to do with the sort of the preliminary stuff, finding the right production company and finding the right director. And, I had a little bit of a say in in some of the character, some of the casting and so forth. But I would say that once the shooting started, once the filming began, my biggest thing was just visiting the set and getting to know people and kind of eating lunch with the crew as well as the cast and that kind of thing. So I like to say that the fact that I was an executive producer kind of meant that I could ride in the car with the cool kids. I had to kind of just shut my mouth and not say anything.
That's great. Yeah, that's like the perfect answer if someone asks you, what do you do as executive producer on the show? That just puts it in a nutshell. No, but that's interesting too. So sitting there as you see the final product of the show and you're seeing all these characters that came from your imagination, like you're the only one who can give us this answer, but when you watch the final product, is it thrilling? Is it nerve-wracking? Are you scared? Like, are these characters sacred to you that, oh, maybe this won't come out how I imagined? Or what is like your mindset even watching it?
I was thrilled. I watched a nearly final cut of each episode with my wife. We went down to New York and, we were invited to it, like a screening room. And it was a Monday morning. We watched the first 3 episodes. And then we went back into the city the following Monday to watch episodes 4, 5, and 6. I would say between my wife and me, we sort of destroyed a whole box of Kleenex because, and luckily there was one there in the room because it was very emotional for me. I didn't observe any false notes. I didn't particularly care, that some stuff was pared down or some stuff was added. I just wanted it to be a really good film, and so I was, I felt pleased and honored that, that they had worked so hard to make that happen. And when I say they, I certainly mean Mark and Derek, but also, the entire cast and crew. Yeah, they were, I don't have a lot of experience visiting, film sets, but I was really pleased with, how smooth and professional everything was, and I made, I think, 4 different trips up to Poughkeepsie when they were filming, and I never noticed any prima donna stuff, and people were welcoming and, happy that, that I had come to visit, and, you could tell that people really cared about this project. It wasn't just a job. They really wanted to deliver their best. I don't know, but I think that's probably fairly unusual for a film set.
Yeah, no, that you see the passion right in the screen too, that everyone's giving 150%. Now, for people who don't know, this isn't your first rodeo executive producing, as in 2014, one of your novels you executive produced, Wishin' and Hopin'. I was wondering, because I think a lot of people want to know this, is there any other novels of yours that you would like to see translated to TV or film?
Sure. Yeah, my first novel was called She's Come Undone.
Of course.
And as far as I know, it still is called that. But that came out in 1992, and Oprah sort of made it a household name in 1997 when she picked it for her book club.
Right.
And that has been a film project for as long as the novel has existed. So however many years it's been since 1992. I don't know. I can't do the math. But,
it would be 27 because I was born in 92, so I was a baby.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Okay. Well, that was your birth present.
Yeah,
I wanted to write that for you. Yeah. But anyway, that was a film project for Warner Brothers forever, and then it kind of went into development hell, and so far it's stayed there. But I think it's still a very, it could be a viable story, with the right person and the right screenwriter and director and so forth. People came and went. Zach Braff and Reese Witherspoon and several others were interested in the project, but then nothing ever came of it. So I'd love to see that in film. And my later novel, We Are Water, is sort of in a development stage. It's it hasn't gotten greenlit or anything, but we're sort of preparing that to go to market.
Well, I'll tell you this, Wally. After people watch this show, I feel like everyone's going to be knocking on your door, calling your phone. You're going to be the next Stephen King with all these big projects and the name on these movies, which is so cool and awesome. And I really appreciate you taking the time today to talk to me. Everyone, please watch I Know This Much Is True on HBO Sunday nights at 9 p.m. And you can also catch it on demand. Wally, have a great day. Please, you and your family stay safe during all this madness, and I hope to talk again soon.
Hey, this was fun, Steve. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.